Recording in progress. Mr. Max, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Great, so far so good, can't complain. Thanks for joining us this morning, taking time out of your schedule, and joining us on this spiritual journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, why don't you talk to us a little bit about who you are and what initiated your spiritual journey in life?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Who I am and what initially initiated my spiritual journey. You know, it's kind of interesting. I had somewhat of a Catholic upbringing. I went to catechism and that kind of stuff. And when I was younger in my teens and stuff like that, I studied the Bible and stuff because I was looking for a way out, because I was a bum and broke and sick. And so I was looking for the answer. I tried, different spiritual paths and stuff. And but all through my 20s and so forth, and early 30s, and then I started studying some like Richard Bach, Jonathan Living Siegel, that author, about kind of mind over matter, that kind of stuff. And then when I'm in my early 30s, from doing tons of drugs and alcohol, mostly just alcohol and stuff, a little bit of drugs actually, I turned myself over to a fellowship, and they have had a way of living a practice like the letting go, letting God, and suiting up and showing up. And out of desperation, I started seeking help through a fellowship.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. And how do you remain in this how do you remain spiritual during hard times in your life? What tools do you use?
It's funny. I was just talking to my wife, and I'm saying I'm one of the least spiritual guys I know. you know, and but that I have everything I need to be joyous, happy, and free. But that doesn't stop me from being still discontent. You know, but for but I have learned some tricks along the way by studying Bob Proctor, Eckhart Tolle, all these guys, the Dalai Lama, and so forth, Bruce Lipton's, and so forth. That there's many different ways I can. Well, first of all, I have to define being spiritual. And
Hmm.
one of my spiritual advisors once said, who was an ex-cop from Detroit, a hard nose, said that to having a spiritual awakening means that the spirit awakens. I don't
Hmm.
define being spiritual as bowing down to a God, an all-powerful God, so to speak. And the reason I don't like bow down or praise to a God, not out of an ego thing, is because I use myself as an example. I'm a father, and I want my son to show me respect. You know, how you doing, Dad? That kind of stuff. But I don't want him to praise or bow down to me. I want him to have a good life, to enjoy his life, to be happy, to thrive and stuff. So that's kind of the perimeters. So when I get out of sorts, when I get irritable and discontent, what is good for me to do is to remember the basics, that when it comes to people, places, and things, I don't really have that much power. I may have a little bit of influence, but not that much power. So I try to get right back down to the basis that I'm somewhat powerless in a sense for other people. And then I try to get out of self, because whenever I'm thinking of self, it's going to lead, if I think of self long enough, it's going to lead to the dark side. That's all. So I got to get out of me and try to do some good in life. And that could be talking to people like yourself, a friend. That could be It could be playing music, or it could be just giving thanks to God of the universe.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yes, and how does your on a daily basis, how does your spiritual regimen, your schedule looks like in terms of your spirituality? What tools, what do you do throughout the day to keep you spiritually fit?
Hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting question too. It's just kind of developed over time. I do get up fairly early, between 4:30 and 6 in the morning. That I normally listen to YouTube for guided meditations and so forth. I may attend, and I have my coffee, of course. I do a form of meditation. Uh, a lot of times I'll write a gratitude list. You know, there's a connection between the pen and the paper and the brain. So when I write it, it reinforces it. And when I write, I'll write questions. I'll go, you know, why am I grateful? Why am I lucky? I believe I'm lucky. Some people believe they're blessed. I believe I'm blessed too. What's good about a situation? You know, um, what do I like about my wife? What do I like about Sean? Because if I ask the questions, the brain is going to answer it. I don't even have to consciously answer it and stuff. So that kind of stuff. Hmm.
Yeah, I could relate. I have that stinking thinking where I gotta go contrary action to make positive moves, you know?
Yeah. You know what? And all through the day, kind of the back of my mind, I'll say God is good. God is all loving. Life is good. I've done all kinds of goofy things in this spiritual journey. Um, I use a lot of self-talk that, sometimes I'll go for a walk in the morning and just paraphrase. I'll recite the Lord's Prayer over and over again. I'll recite the Serenity Prayer over and over again, and that and I find going to the sauna a few times a week, that's a good place to meditate. I just put my headphones on in the hot
Mm.
steam room and a hot room, and that. How about yourself?
Oh boy. So my regular schedule involves obviously waking up, looking at my phone. I try not to look at my phone. As soon as I look at my phone, even for a time, it
Sure.
triggers a reaction that's not so good, for my spiritual being. So then I do a specific prayer to relieve me of my character defects because I'm very
Mm-hmm.
self-driven, selfish oriented individual. So I ask the higher power to remove anything that comes between me, the people on the earth, and also to the connection to the universe. And after that, I use the restroom because I can't hold my piss too long. And I use the restroom, come back, I make my bed, and
Mm-hmm.
I get into the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I get my phone since I need a direction, I need some focal
Uh-huh.
point. I get my phone, I put a 20-minute meditation on here on my timer, and I have it start counting. So I use that as my focal point while I'm concurrently using my breath as my anchor for my brain. And I just do slow increments while I'm going back and forth with my breath work, trying to stay in the moment and keep looking at my phone and where am I at with my meditation? How many minutes have I gone
Mm-hmm.
by? So that gives me a little confidence when I look at my phone. I'm 2 minutes in. All right, let's focus on the next 2 minutes. 2 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go about my day. You know, my thing is I tend to overdo things. When I have too much on my plate, I get overwhelmed.
Sure.
So I try to keep it simple throughout the day. Go with
Mm-hmm.
my own body energy. Everyone's energy is different, right? Sometimes there's a big discrepancy between my energy and people. Like on the freeway, some people are gonna go fast, some people are gonna go slow.
Sure.
I try to move at my own energy levels, my own momentum, and just try to stay in my lane and continuously asking whatever higher power is out there to direct my thinking. Because I do, even though I meditate in the morning, my conscious drifts off and it starts identifying with different things in life that it's not supposed to be identifying with. So I just try to remain focused on the moment. I'm far from perfect. I drift off all the time, but this is some of the tactics that I'm trying to incorporate to,
Mm-hmm.
to overall stay in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said your wife. I think you should be doing or supposed to be doing. And that's a good. I can relate to that a lot. But when I can get out of the what I should be doing or what should be happening, and try it, and instead of saying this shouldn't be happening, and then when I can see it at a different perspective and saying, why is this happening? Why is it good? Or how can it be beneficial?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm driving down the road and somebody flips me off and I get all ticked off at them because that shouldn't be happening,
Yeah.
But if I can, let me give you an example. Okay. The past couple of weeks we've been getting hit with financial things, dental work, losing stuff that needs to be replaced, auto repairs, medical bills, and that kind of stuff, right? And my daughter had some auto repairs that needs to be taken care of, car issues, right? That's going to probably cost us additional money. And I started thinking, I get all upset about it. Then I had a dream that night about helping her out. Actually, my stepdaughter. I had a dream about helping her out with the car, bringing us closer, right? So she has a finance car issue that is going to probably cost us money. I get upset about it. Then I have that dream about how it could bring us closer and how it could be beneficial. Then the next morning I call her to, about the car to see about how we can work it out, So that's taking the seemingly bad issue of having a car problem or financial problems and turning it around to seeing how it can be beneficial to us. See, I don't know what's beneficial. Like I've been not telling you, or sharing with you for years that the saying I like to say is, well, that's good. Maybe, maybe not. That's bad. Well, maybe, maybe not. Because how many times in your life have something happened to you you thought that was bad and wound up being good? There's something that started out being good and wound up being bad.
Never know.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like when you get so embedded in one thought, with that thought process comes a lot of motion. And sometimes if that prospect of that idea is not true, it's pretty much of a waste of energy because it's all speculation.
Yeah.
So I could see where you're going with that,
Yeah, it's finances are kind of one of our main issues. Romances are the other one, physical health, and they all go together. If I let myself get overtaken by emotions, that cuts my ability to earn money and stuff, and also it affects my physical health. We know stress is so detrimental to our physical health, so a lot of times it's hard to distinguish the truth from the lies we create, and I don't really know about what's true and what's not true.
Yeah.
Hmm. And let me get back to the thing that you were talking about, the emotions
Hmm.
and stuff, and how those emotions happen for me is like memory recall. And also too that sometimes I know I may be getting angry a little bit, and actually I'm just a little bit irritated, you know, or I may be sad, and I might want to put a name on it, thinking I'm depressed.
Hmm.
You know, it's like we always want to put a name on something.
Title it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, great topics today. A lot of insight. Hopefully, it could help out the audience, anyone who's struggling, or even just eager about spirituality. And appreciate you having on the podcast, Max. And
Yeah, well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
thank
Mm.
you for all your insight.
Oh, you're absolutely. Adios.